Welcome to Semper Sometimes with Benny. I got my man Lud, aka Staff Sergeant Romain. Flew all the way out from Hawaii to be here with us. I'm gonna just throw that out there. And we're just gonna talk about life, the Marine Corps, family, and really just what led him to where he's at now, and just bullshit as well because we haven't seen each other in now almost a year.
2 years. Almost 2
Oh
years.
shit, yeah.
January 2020.
So we're gonna go from that. We're gonna talk about life and pretty much just how he got from point A to point B and what the next C, D, and E and F is. So without further ado, welcome Lud.
What's going on, Bennett? Thank you for having me, man. Semper Sometimes with Benny. It's a great, show to not only to talk about things that's important to us, but to let people know what we all about and stuff like that. So, like Benny say, I am Lud Romain, Staff Sergeant Romain, the Haitian sensation in the recruiting world in New Jersey. I joined the Marine Corps in 2010. I'm from Haiti. That's why they call me the Haitian sensation. If you didn't know. And joined the Marine Corps 2010. No, it's been 11 years. Not to hold my horn too hard, but from PFC to Staff Sergeant meritoriously. And I barely can speak English. So I don't know how that happened, but it did. From getting recruited, I went to Japan with CLB4. From Japan, I went to Camp Lejeune with 1st Battalion, 8th Marine. From 1st Battalion, 8th Marine, I went on recruiting duty in New Jersey. That was 2016 to 2019. And from recruiting duty, I've been living the dream in Hawaii. And here we are now. Married for 9 years, 2 sons. And yeah, so why did I join the Marine Corps? It's a very funny story. And not many people knows about this story because I don't really open it up like that. So I came in the United States in 2003. Check this out. With a student visa. And that student visa was for a whopping 6 months. So, 2003 to 2021, you do the math. And I end up staying in America illegally for 7 years. Why 7 years? Because I got my green card. I was legal in America in 2010, June 2010. And I joined the Marine Corps July 2010. So I graduated high school 2008. Couldn't do shit. So I'm back to France because I was raised in France. And then came back, my papers, and I joined the Marine Corps. Eager to take in the world, and I guess that's why I got meritorious and everything, because I was a little bit mature, so and I was working hard, and I guess it was the work ethic that my parents laid in me. That's about it.
So why'd you join the Marine Corps though? Like, where'd that come from? Like, did you meet a recruiter? Did you meet somebody? Like, how did that whole thing happen?
Great question. So throughout my high school years, I was an illegal alien, because keep in mind, I couldn't do shit. Even I was a great student, by the way, in high school, but I couldn't get scholarship. I was a great soccer player, couldn't get no scholarship because I didn't even have a social security card.
Oh shit.
So, but there was this recruiter, Staff Sergeant Bean, that was always coming. He was always interested in me because I was physically fit, I was smart, I was getting all A's and B's. But what he didn't know that I didn't have no papers because I didn't tell nobody about it. Mm-hmm. So I entertained him, went to the recruiting office, no PT. I was doing 20 pull-ups at the age of 16, 17. Yeah. But once he found out I didn't have no papers, he didn't throw me out like that. He was like, no, I'm not interested. He still kept me around. He was like, you know what? I'm here for 3 years. I think you're going to get it in the next 2 years. And sure enough, within 3 years, I got it. So he the one who kind of not motivated me, but inspired me. Despite of me not being totally legal, he didn't just like, I'm just a number. You know what? Get out of here. He didn't do that. He kept me around. And I believe, if someone is willing to keep you around while you not ready, but they are patient enough to help you and believes in you.
Yeah.
And that's why I joined the Marine Corps.
Well, and that's what a lot of what you did when you were on recruiting duty. Like, you always had people back in the saddle, like waiting on them.
Absolutely.
You and Morales always did that. Like you always had kids like, all right, not yet, I can't get you yet, and that's a piece of advice right there for you. Don't turn people away. Just have them in the back until they're ready, because it happens. You know what I mean? Like eventually you were a contract for that dude.
Absolutely, absolutely. One thing about switching up to recruiting duty, you don't want someone that's already ready. If it's ready, it's perfect. But sometimes you have to mold, you have to inspire that young man or woman, to be just like you by showing him that, hey, you're not just a number. I know you're not ready, but a year from now, I'll still be around. 2 years around, you still be around, and therefore, hey, you're gonna do what you need to do. So that was my inspiration to join the Marine Corps. And then once I joined the Marine Corps, I never looked back until today. People say I'm motivated. I'm not motivated. I just remember where I came from, how I couldn't do shit in 2006, 7, 8, 9, and 2010, and now I got all the opportunity in the world. I'm taking every single opportunity the Marine Corps and life is giving me, and that's my recipe to success in the Marine Corps. Because me and you, we know that in the Marine Corps you don't have to be smart, okay? You don't have to take a test to get meritoriously promoted. All you got is your work ethic. You stay out of trouble, and guess what? Someone's gonna notice you, and I've been noticed. Yes. So, yes, here I am. Any questions? Anything else?
I guess my next thing would really just be, so do you see yourself, number one, I would assume the answer is yes, but do you see yourself doing 20 or more?
Ooh, that's a great question. Every time someone asks me this question, so you're doing 20? Last week was my 11th year anniversary in the Marine Corps. And to be honest, I just take it one day at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 month at a time, 1 year at a time. Because you don't want to go too fast in life. You want to pace yourself. Because once you go too fast, you're going to miss a piece of the puzzle. I don't care if you have 99% of the piece of the puzzle, but you miss one. Guess what? It's incomplete. Mm-hmm. So therefore, have a short-term goal, have a long-term goal, but also have a day-to-day goal. And sometimes, like in recruiting duty, independent duty, sometimes you adjust, adapt, and overcome. Simple Gumby, like you always say.
Yo, so those for I should have kind of introduced it like this, but most of y'all don't know that when me and you met each other for 3 years, we kind of, I don't want to say we hated each other, but we
bumped heads.
We bumped heads every single day. We were in the same recruiting office, and this is for anybody out there who's in the same recruiting office with somebody that they can't stand. A lot of the reason I think, at least from my end, was just because of the fact that we never took the time to know each other,
right.
And we were both trying to be the best. And the problem was that the two of us were trying to be better than the other.
Correct.
And if it wasn't you 1 month, then it was me. And I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if I ever told you this because it's funny as shit. But so I remember I brought this kid to MEPS. I brought your kid to MEPS, and he ended up popping at MEPS. And what that means is he disclosed some stuff that he never disclosed to us. Mm-hmm. And I remember, I never forget it. I'm not gonna say the kid's name, but I never forget it because I learned this is how I learned to shut the fuck up. Because I walked into MEPS, I dropped the kid off, and no, this was my bad. It was the day I was going to pick him up, and we had gotten the call that he was good. So I walk in, and the CO at the time is sitting at the desk at Fort Hamilton MEPS, and it was him and Hibbert, and I walk in and the CEO is like, "Hey Ben, what's going on?" I was like, "Hey sir, I'm here to pick up our contractors. We made mission. We're good." And he just looks at me and then Hibbert looks at me and he goes, "Bro, your kid got hit. What are you talking about?" And I was just
exactly who you talking about.
And I was just like, "Wait, what?" I was just like, "Wait." So now, mind you, so I get the news that this kid got hit, and your hit. It was your kid, and I was just like, "Yo, this is great. You know what this means? I can throw my kid up tomorrow. He can dep, and then I'll get the bat, and Romain won't." Like that was lit. No lie.
That was Munslinger, the freaking dude. Yep.
So so what was funny though was, so I literally was like, "Oh shit, he can't get a bat now. He can't write his 4, so I'm gonna just throw my dude up. I'll get the 4." But what was funny though, I'm pretty sure I told you this, but we got in the whip, and what was funny was I had that was Durkee's first moment of truth. I brought Durkee in the car in the morning, and I did the brief in the car. And I told Durkee, I was like, "Hey, listen, man, like this is how it all works." And the next day, I picked him up, and it was me and Durkee. I'll never forget it. We're going over the Verrazano Bridge, and I got this dude in the back seat, and I just turn around and I just start flipping out on him. I put my government vehicle in park on the Verrazano, and cars are whipping around me. And Dirky's like, "What are you doing?" I start flipping out on him. I'm like, "Bro, you didn't tell us this shit." I'm like, "Why the hell did I?" Bugging out on him. Long story short, he ended up. It took like an extra 2 months, I think, or some shit like that for him to join and get a letter for him. But it was just funny though because like. I was happy at the moment because I was like, all right, word, I can throw the kid up. I'll be able to get the 4, not you. And that's how we were for like 2 years. It was literally 4-3, 4-3. And I think now looking back at it, if we had worked together, it probably would have been a lot of a better office. We probably would have killed it even more than we did.
True.
But I think it was, but that's what it was though. It was a huge part of it was just competition from the jump. And then if you really think about it, our boss, I think he liked the fact that the two of us would come at it. I think he just kind of like...
It was better for him.
I think he kind of...
competition.
Yeah, because he would just start... He'd be like, "Yo, Benny, did you hear what Romain said
Yeah,
about you?"
I remember that. I remember that.
He would just freaking put us at each other, man.
But to clarify things, Bennett, Sergeant Bennett and then Staff Sergeant Bennett was far the top 5 recruiter in the state. I was probably top 20. Okay? I was top 20, maybe. I'll say top 15, 20 years. This guy right was top 5.
No,
there
was no top 5. I was number 1.
Okay, right. I'm trying to be humble here. There was some closing he used to do. I used to mimic that shit. You know, I'm going to take that from you. Remember that drawer you had with the pennies and you had the coin in there? I surely took that. You know,
I don't even know who I got that from. I got it from somebody else. It wasn't even mine. I took it from someone had told me about it, and I was like, I think it was Gunny Ledbetter. I think it was Gunny Ledbetter that showed me that, and I used it for a little bit. But then like I don't like using other people's stuff, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make my own thing. And then that's when I made my own thing, and then that shit stuck like hard body. But yeah, and I remember, I don't know if you remember this, but I remember the first time I ever met you.
We were driving, going down there. Yep, and you were talking about somebody in our office that wasn't performing, and he was like, "What the fuck? You didn't have doing this." I'm like, "Bro, I'm trying to grind." He's like, "Yeah, me too. I'm trying to grind." He was like, "Yeah, we should go out together." I'm like, "Yeah, let's go out together and kill it." And then from there,
it was when I wasn't even a recruiter yet. I was going to BRC.
Correct.
I just gotten there.
Correct.
And I remember, and this is where our what do you call it? Like not our battle, not our war, but like our competition, I guess you could say.
Our connection started
because we were. I'll never forget it. It was me and you. We got in the whip together, and we went to Old Bridge because it was your It was like your 3-month eval with Maxon Royal and Gunny Ujama, and you were doing your talk, and then I was getting people in the hallway, and I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna just show this dude up on his." In my head, I was like, "Yo, it's just this dude's 3-month eval." I was like, "I'm gonna just show him up." I got the ARI here. I was like, "This is my time," and I remember that shit. And we ended up like the two of us were in the hallway like getting.
And that day we ended up with 7 appointments.
Yeah, bro, it was nuts. I remember that shit. It was, and then we went to the pizzeria with. We went to Crispy Pizza with Gunny Ujama, and then people bought us lunch and shit. But so I guess just getting into now how you guys know how we know each other and shit. I guess what I really want to talk about is just because I remember so you went from a really bad recruiter to becoming a better recruiter, and then you ended up killing for a period of time where it was literally you, me, you, and then. I remember you were at the point where they were talking about you becoming a staff in CIC, and you were like, "Hell no!" You were like, "I can't do it." And I think at one point you were like, "Yo, just pick Bennett," and you were trying to pawn that off on me, and I guess we have a lot to talk about it, just because to unpack because you went from being the guy who was trash.
Yep.
I remember being there before I was even a recruiter. I remember, no lie,
first 3-4 months was horrible,
bro. And you were bringing in 15-year-old kids who you thought were appointments. Who had I remember that one chick who came in. She had wrist tattoos, and then you looked at her boyfriend and you were like, "Hey, what about you?" And Gunny Ujama was just like, "Yo, we need an appointment type shit."
Yeah.
But so you started off it was pretty bad.
Horrible.
But then you ended up, long story short, 3 years later, taking over, Trenton, doing the best Trenton's ever done in a long time, and now they're just not nearly where you were. So I guess I kind of just want to talk about just first of all what got you through the duty, because you would talk about how much you hated it every day, but at the same time, as much as you hated it, you would grind.
Yes.
And you would come in the morning, you'd get your shit done. Like, that's one thing I can say about you is like you would come in the office, you'd be and he was that hard ass sergeant who was in a room with other sergeants, like, yo, why aren't your blues put away? Yo, why is there dirt on the floor? Like, yo, he would be like telling us the police call around the office.
OCD as a
like
mom.
bad. But so I guess what was going on, because you kind of like what do you think was besides like you growing up in another country, coming out here, besides the motivation of trying to be better, like what else was going through your mind to go from literally really really bad to being moderately better, or like what was it that made that transition?
That's a great question, and let's take it a step back. The word motivation, I think it's just a show off. When people is around, they can see, when the spotlight is on you, you motivated. But what about when no one is looking? When you're in that room by yourself making 200 phone calls, nobody's it's picking up, or they telling you to go fuck off. Are you still motivated? So therefore, the word motivated, I kind of scratch it off and put driven. When you are driven, any individual that is driven is a dangerous person, because it doesn't matter to the good, bad, the ugly, he's gonna keep moving forward. So, long story short, I knew my first 6 months gonna be trash, but I also had this mindset since I was a little child: what doesn't challenge you won't change you. So I knew it was gonna be challenging, and I fucking love the challenge. As much as it hurted me, because I hate losing. I'm my worst competitor. Even though I was looking at you like, yo, this guy got a 3 or 4 this month, I'm gonna get at least a 4. He's got a bat this month, I'm gonna get a bat. I don't care if the boss give me Sunday off, I'm working on Sunday for my own damn self, because I'm trying to get neck to work to him, and that's what we did. So from being a not so good recruiter to meritoriously promoted under duty and taking care of number 14 station, which is last, to number 4 by the time I left, it was straight commitment and consistency. And do your damn job, because it's something called systematic recruiting. If you're doing the barely minimum, I repeat that, if you do the barely minimum, it will work. If you add a little motivation and drive, you will be a freaking rock star. So my first bat was in my 4th month. Long story short, altogether I got 5 bats, I think 4 or 5. This guy got like 8. Just to let you guys know the comparison right there. 8, 4. So, exactly. But when I took over, when I got meritoriously promoted, it was like, shit, I guess it works. Hard work works. That's what successful people do. You can't be lazy in this duty and think you're going to be successful. It doesn't work. I'm not going to mention any name, but when the major called me and said, oh, you're doing well, you got meritoriously promoted, you're going to get in charge in Trenton. I'm like, sir, me? You're trying to set me up for failure. I'm doing great in Monmouth, and now you're gonna make me a boss of a place I failed 6 times in a row? I'm like, oh hell.
It might have been worse than that. I think it was
like 7, 8 months. 7, 8 months straight
of like
Trent was
failure.
And I'm not mentioning no name, but that staffing COC at that time, he was trash. He had no work ethic. He didn't care. And, he made me look like a rock star, and I appreciate that, bro. Hey. And by the way, he's my neighbor right now in Hawaii. Like, no bullshit.
Oh, is he really?
He lives 2 houses away from me in Hawaii.
Oh,
okay?
shit.
And
you talk to him?
Not really. Not because I don't want to. I'm busy, man. I just got
been,
my bachelor.
Yeah.
I got things going
on. Oh, shit. Big dog. So, before we continue on that, though, so I want to unpack a lot of what you said, because that's the reality of it, right? And you're talking to 2 people that were, like, you were meritoriously promoted. I was on the meritorious board, made it all the way to the end. Both became staff and COSCs, and both had very great, 3 years, 4 years for me, but like we had a really good career on recruiting duty. The reality of it is that, and you can attest to this because we were in the same office at the same time, it's all work ethic. That's really what it is. And like, and to go back to what you were saying in the beginning, is it's also just about systematic recruiting. Like, it's not even about, I'm not going to sit here and argue, like, everybody says, F McCris, McCris don't work. No. McCris works. I hate using McCris, but the reality of it is that if you use the product for what it's supposed to be used, it does work. Correct. Like, now mind you, if you use the product how Staff Sergeant Romain used it, then it might kind of work for you and it might not. Now, what I mean by that is this dude, every morning, without fail, this dude would make all of his follow-up calls. But the problem is, he would call the same person he called a month ago, and the dude told him, hell no, go F yourself. And he'd call him back, hey man, I just want to see how you doing. And the dude would say, yo, I told you a month ago to go F yourself.
But guess what? Some of them, situation changes. Some of them thought it was going to be basketball players or a full scholarship. Guess what? They end up working in the fucking, sorry for my cursing, they end up working at the freaking dang on gas station. Yeah. That's why you don't give up on them until you know for a fact that they're disqualified. Same thing with me. If my recruiter would have told me, oh, you illegal alien, man, I'd go fuck yourself. You call me. No, he kept on check upon me, so I kind of hit that. And then
but I'm not saying, bro, but you know as well as I do, you would call some people in the morning just to get your morning fight in.
Absolutely. Hey, there's a strategy and a chemistry to this, okay? There's so many phone calls and AC you have to do every day. I'm trying to meet that. So before I step out this office at either 09 or 1000, I'm making at least 30 phone calls. That's what the boss wants, right? Systematic, right? Boom. There you go. And it worked for me. So, and I kept doing it. And so far, so good.
But you know what's crazy, though? Like, if you think about it, and this is like a conversation I'm actually going to have Master Rudin. I don't know if you remember him. He's gonna come. Well, sorry, Master Gunnery Sergeant Rudin. He's gonna come on the podcast like next week. But it's weird though because like it's a thing that me and Stanley were talking about, like playing to your strengths type thing, right? You were fire at ACing.
Correct.
Your TC game wasn't there,
Sucks.
And even you right now just said that you would spend 2-3 hours in the morning just to hit these numbers and then walk out the office. Part of me, and that's why it's like it's a hard thing to argue about or talk about, is like, what if somebody had said, you know what, Romain, why don't you spend that 3 hours bringing your kids to school, going to the gym, having breakfast, you know what I mean? Because realistically, if you really look down at that, if you really look at it, if you really look at your numbers, did you ever get a contract from morning TCs?
No, zero.
So now, mind you, how many days upon hours upon years does all of that add up to when you could have been doing something more productive?
So I'm going to answer this question in two perspectives. The first perspective is it's recruiting duty. Ain't no boss out here, at least a good boss, don't say, oh, you hate TC, you like TC, go have fun with your wife for 2 hours. Not going to happen. Second perspective is I'm the type of guy, if I hate something and I know I'm horrible at it, I'm going to freaking keep doing it until I get better at it. So that was my point. I did it not because the boss told me to or because I had to, but because something inside of me that says, hey, you suck at this shit. You know what? You need to get better. And the only way to get better is by doing it. It's like a problem. You avoiding a problem is not going to get better. Hello?
You're not wrong, and the reason why I asked that question, I'm glad that you went that way, is because that's the problem with recruiting duty. Is everybody has a different opinion, everybody has a different thought. Oh, this might work, and then you go into numbers, and that's the thing is that somebody realistically, and not saying no names, but the problem that we have is that realistically somebody should have been there saying, hey, you know what, man, morning TCs don't do shit for you. Maybe you shouldn't be making morning TCs. You should be doing this instead or something like that. And that's the importance of you doing your weekly numbers, you looking, and that's the thing that sucks because like if you really think about it, right, and maybe this is just me, I don't know, but until you became a staff in COIC, don't you feel like all of a sudden you got thrown in the seat as a staff in COIC and you went to the CRC, the course
for 1 week? It was a 2-week thing, but my wife had a surgery, so I never had the certification. So the extra week when you have to do the test, I didn't do that bullshit.
But so my thing is though is that like when you got to the staff commission officer course, right, for recruiting duty, tell me you did not look at that shit and you were like, yo, why didn't I learn this shit 3 years ago? Like, And that's the thing is like a lot. I feel like, and I said this on one of my other podcasts, like there's so much training that should be given to recruiters that isn't given to recruiters. And then by the time you get it, it's like, bro, I'm about to be out the door.
Now, why do you think it's not giving? Is it due to the fact that it's coming? Is it from the top down?
No, it's the people that are in the office. A lot of times, and that's why it's a hard thing, is that a lot of times you can't change leadership.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So like sometimes you'll either have a really, really good boss who's like really in there, like Gunny Ujama. Bro, Gunny Ujama, I went to visit him like 2 weeks ago. Bro, I wish I had more time with this man just to learn. Because I watched him, even though, like, so what happened was Cuevas he had to get a 680 on a chick. No, not a 680, my bad. He had to get a police record check on a chick. Mm-hmm. And what happened is Gunny Ujama, even though Cuevas been on the duty for 2 years, Gunny Ujama literally came out the office, printed it off, put it in front of him, and was like, hey man, listen, I need you to get this for me. Told him exactly what it was, explained to him exactly what it was, told him how to get it, told him what to do if he couldn't get it, then told him, hey, if you can't get it, come back to me. Hey, also give me a sit rep as to what's going on.
Right.
And like just watching him in the matter of like 3 minutes, I was like, bro, I wish I had more than just 3 months with that man.
So
because he actually took the time to go, and I remember like when he was our boss for a couple of months,
2-3 months, yeah.
like he actually every Friday he took training seriously. He pulled out the sheets, he pulled out the boards, and that's the thing is like if you're a staff in CYC, you really got to take that shit seriously because and it's something that I talked about before is like and you've been in the meetings with me, like how many times did we sit in a staff at CYC meeting and everyone's like, oh, my recruiter sucked. But no one was ever like, I fucking suck. I blow. And I'm saying that from my own, like, even I've been there. Like, a lot of people don't take ownership on the failure of training. They don't take ownership on that.
So it's all about perspective for me. Why do I say it's all about perspective? Number one, when I first checked in with Gunny Jama on December 22nd, 2016, he was like, hey, I'm not a boss. Don't call me boss, man. I'm not a boss. I'm just a staff in CIC. So therefore, I had in my mind, so I don't have a boss. I'm my own boss. So therefore, I cannot disappoint me. I can disappoint him, but I cannot disappoint me.
That's true.
So that's one thing I've learned from Gunny J.
And Devil Dog Brown, bro.
And Devil Dog Brown.
But he said the same thing. When he told me that shit, bro, I wrote my first nut in December of 2017, right before the new year, right before I had my literally I wrote a nut. And I wrote 0. Nobody contracted.
I remember. I was there.
The kid that I was supposed, bro. I'll never forget that shit, bro. I wanted to go find the doctor and just, bro. The kid got medically qualified the day before Christmas Eve, and they were like, "Oh, well, we gotta wait until the new year for him to." I was like, ugh. But long story short, that ended up bringing me my first bat. And I remember sitting in training at 0 training, and Gunny and Devil Dog Brown just came up to me and he looked at me. It was the first time I ever met him. And he was like, why are you here? And I was like, oh, I wrote a 0. He's like, okay, well, that's never going to fucking happen again. That was like the first thing he said to me. And the second thing he said to me, he was like, who do you work for? And I was like, so what do you mean? I was like, I work for my boss. And he was like, no, motherfucker, you work for you. And I was like, wait, what? And the moment he put that in my head, bro, I ended up writing a bat in January, February, and March. And then from there, I never looked back because me and you, and I remember this too, and I told this on the episode, and I'm glad that you're here to vouch for it because somebody was like, y'all didn't do that. Me and you, we had a boss, I'm not going to say his name. He was causing us issues where we were losing kids to him. Right? This happened.
I have to say,
and
you hit for me, not him.
Yeah, right? So we were losing kids because he was either strong on arming them too much, or he was like trying to move their MEPS data up, or whatever it was.
Too fast.
And he was just like going at him like a dog. So eventually, even though me and you at this time were like butting heads, one morning we kind of just went up to each other and we were like, yo, we got to go talk to this man in the office. And we left all the other recruiters, the junior guys, like Morales, Dirk, we left all them out the room. And me and you just sat down with him and we were like, yo, for now on, don't talk to any of our kids. Don't talk to them. Don't bring it up. I don't want you to speak to them. Because I remember there was one day where he was talking to this kid. The kid came in with docs. He was a referral. He was a reservist. The kid walked in. He had a full-time job, 26 years old, and he said when he sat down, I'm here to join, and I'm only going reserves. This dude looked at him and goes, yo, you a big motherfucker. Why the fuck you only going reserves? Then the dude looked at him and was like, well, now I ain't going nowhere. And then at that moment, me and you were like, listen, when we start failing, then come and talk to us. But right now, just let us do what we got to do. We will make your mission and leave it at that.
And you know what? I've learned from that too, because since I started the Marine Corps, I had a great staff in TOIC, now Master Guns. He said, hey, this whole Marine Corps is like a box, okay? It's boxed. And every time you open that toolbox, take tools that's good for your own career, okay? If it's good, you think that's going to help you in your career, take it. The bad tools, throw that shit away. So only put quality tools in your toolbox. What I'm trying to say by that. Now, fast forward, when I became a staff in TOIC, guess what? One of the main reasons I was successful at being a staff in TOIC in Trenton is I did the very same thing that my staff in CO at that time, when me and him was together, did not do. I repeat, the reason I became successful was not because I was bright, because I could barely type a naval form letter. I barely speak English, all right? I'm borderline retarded if you ask me. But the reason I was successful, I was able not only being a staff in COIC, but I was also a recruiter, okay? I was also doing Metro Run. I was also make sure being the first one in the office and the last one to leave. Like, I would, the recruiter sees I was a part of my care. That's it. That was basically it. They trust me and I trust them. And that's why we were able to kick ass. So, at the end of the day, when it comes to this very hard, demanding duty such as recruiting duty in the Marine Corps, it's crazy to say, now that I look back, it's hard, but it's not hard.
Yeah.
As you're going through it, it's hard, but after like, man, this shit was very simple if only I did my job.
And that's the thing, bro. It is. It literally is that simple. Like, yo, like, and now it's a blessing in a disguise because for me, it's like now I do my civilian job and I'm just like, people are like, oh, it's such a slow day. Oh, I got hung up on. And I'm like, bro, this is nothing compared to like the conversations I used to have. Like, I used to get screamed at. I used to get cursed at. I used to get, I remember that video I have of you with that.
Yo, I was looking at the other day. That lady was like, oh no, not my child. Not my child. Trump is in the, no, he's going to go to broke down. But man, like, it was crazy. It was crazy.
It was crazy, bro. That was like the funny. And then I was telling my boss the other day, I was telling her about how we used to start playing games on the phones because we had to make the phone calls. So we would just like when people would just get off the phone, we would just hold on a second. So you're not interested right now, but it might be an opportunity for later on. And then we would just keep them on the phone as long as we could before they would hang up.
Right now.
So you're not about it right now, but maybe later on. And then I was telling my boss about like that movie Super Troopers where they do the right meow, and I told her how like, bro, you weren't there. You had left already. You were back in the fleet. But it was me, Cuevas, Murphy, and Beverly, and Morales. And I got 173 meows in one conversation, bro. And then they were like, dude, they were all like, bro, there's no way. Because they were counting it. And they were like, yo, there's no way. There was like, she got to be playing with you. She's like, there's no way that she didn't notice. So I stopped the phone call, and I was like, hey, listen, ma'am. I was like, let me ask you a question. I was like, did you notice that throughout the whole conversation I was saying meow? And she was just like, yeah, I was just, seeing how many you could get. Bro, it was like a 45-minute long conversation. Shit was funny as hell. Needless to say, I think it was like somebody's mom or something. But so I guess my question would be just kind of talking about, like I said, a lot of it's work ethic, right? But I think we got to break it down further to Barney style because a lot of people say that. They're like, oh, well, this job is it's so hard. It's the worst thing I've ever done. And I think it's just because they spend so much time on the negative part about it. It's like, bro, if you would just shut the fuck up about how negative it is, it would just be that much better. Because like think about it, right? Like how many times did somebody come in the office like, bro, this is the worst, bro, this is the worst, and it's like, okay.
We had a recruiter like that. Remember? I'm not gonna say no name. We had a negative Nancy in our shop per se. Hey, that's one of the key words in recruiting duty. It sucks as it is. Okay, please don't be a freaking dang on negative Nancy. Because, words comes with affirmation. If you say it sucks, oh, I hate this duty, guess what? Your body gonna look trash. The people are gonna see it through you. You're gonna go out there looking all defeated. And guess what? It's gonna be a bad month.
Yeah,
like, when I was recruiting, I was the man. I was the shit. Regardless if I was on a not, on a 1, on a 2. You couldn't tell me nothing. And it's all about perspective once again. For the future recruiters out there, if I can do it, if he can do it, any of you can do it. Just stay positive and grind.
Bro, and that's the thing too, is like, and that's what I would tell people all the time, like, because when you first got on recruiting duty, your, like, I'm not gonna say your accent has changed or your ability to speak English has changed, but like when you first got on recruiting duty, like Arana, you had like a very
thick.
It was thicker. It was
right.
deeper.
Especially when I get mad.
And it was a lot. And you would get on the phone with people, especially on the phone, and people would be like, "Bro, I can't understand you," and they'd hang up on you. Like Arana would be like, "Hey, this is Arana with the Marines," and then they'd be like, "Who?" And then he would say it like 5 or 6 more times, and then eventually he'd be like, "This is Staff Sergeant Arana with the Marines," and it would switch. And the reason why I bring that up isn't not playing games, not poking fun, but if somebody who can come to if somebody from another country or somebody who has an accent that thick can be successful on the duty, then why the hell can't somebody who it's their first language? Like, that's what kills me, is people who literally sit here and they're like, oh, I can't make a phone call, oh, I can't do this, or oh, I can't do this. And it's like, bro, you look at people who literally have an issue with speaking the language perfectly, and you can perfectly speak the language.
I will answer this question for you. Very simple. And to me, to answer this question for you is, those guys accept failure automatically. I expect failure, but I will never accept failure. Failure's gonna come my way. Come on, challenge me. Okay, I'm gonna fail at something, but I'm gonna try it and keep trying. And that's the reason I was doing my phone calls over and over again, because I know my accent is thick. Sometimes I'm talking to a doctor on the phone. Shit, I barely have a high school diploma, so therefore I have to elevate myself. All right, I have to read. I have to do such and such. So therefore, I'm gonna keep going. Now I can speak to anybody on the phone because I kept on doing it. I expected the failures. I expected the hang them, the nose. But now, once I pick up the phone, hey, you a Harvard law student? Shit, I'm a Harvard law student with you. I'm right there with you now. Let's go.
Let's go, bro.
Let's go. That's all about perspective. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this shit is not hard. It's all about how you see yourself, short term and long term goal. Know where you came from, know where you at, and know where you want to go. Bam. That's the key to success.
So what was how did you get your kids? Look, I know a lot of it was ACing for you. Do you have any tips for that? Like, and also I'm gonna throw this out there too, because I had somebody, I'm on this Facebook page, and somebody was like, what do we do in the new year? It's brand new, it's September, and where do we go?
That's a great question. How do I get most of my kids? All right, I'm a firm believer and break the fucking rules, but not the law. What do I mean by that? You can approach that. Oh, you guys cannot go to Brokedale, blah 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 blah. I'm like, okay, cool. I ain't gonna go to Brokedale. So what I do? Take my car, get in Civies, and my Marine Corps over here. I drive throughout the freaking parking lot, and I just wait. And I see somebody, hey, excuse me, I'm looking for building 55. Oh yeah, it's down the street. Bam, I got a conversation right there. Oh man, nice shoes. Where'd you get those red shoes from? Oh yeah, I got them at the Freehold Mall. What? How much you got them for? For $300, bro. I could get you that for $5, man. Boom. Oh, by the way, I'm kind of busy right now. Thank you for giving the direction. Here's my card. What's your name again? Let me get your number. I'll hit you up later. I kid you not. Santos. I don't know if you remember Santos.
Of course.
He was the first kid I got like that. He brought McCain. McCain brought so on. Just by Santos doing Brokedale. And keep going. In Monmouth, I got 7 kids. Just like that. So break the rules, but don't break the law.
And also, I remember when I first started, when I just got back from BRC, and basic recruiter course. I remember because I was so it's different for me, like because you would tell me. I remember we were at the basketball court by Oak Ridge, and you were like, "Yo, don't even talk about the Marine Corps. Don't even bring it up. Don't even talk about it." And you would talk about basketball. You would start playing hoops. You would start doing all this stuff, and you wouldn't even bring it up into conversation.
Listen, this is when it started clicking for me. My first 3 months, I was trying hard to sell the Marine Corps. Yo, this is the Marine Corps, it's the best thing for you. But now I swallowed the pill. These guys don't know nothing about the Marine Corps. Even me, I've been in the Marine Corps for 8 years back then. I didn't even know most of the thing about the Marine Corps. I knew about my MOS and what I did. But how can I tell someone else about the Marine Corps when I don't know what's your job in the Marine Corps, anybody else's job in the Marine Corps? I realized you have to sell yourself, your personality to those kids. They want to be just like Sergeant Romain. They have to be just like Sergeant Romain. And that's how I was able to get them. You sell yourself, and then once they understand who you are, and then you show them, hey, I'm like this because the Marine Corps was able to help me to do X, Y, and Z. That's it. Once I understood, hey, Romain, stop selling the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps sell itself. They know who you are. They probably seen you in your uniform before. Okay, so stop. Just have fun with them, relate to them, stood to their level. Remember back in the day, hey, you want to join the Marine Corps? No. Well, fuck you then. No, fuck you then. That was me. My first 3, 4, 5, 6 months didn't work too well for me. Didn't work too well.
Listen to me. If you don't think that that's reality, that is freaking reality. Like, we would all, as an office, as friends, we would have to calm this dude down. Because he literally would say that. Or he would be on the phone, and he would take the phone, and he would...
I was frustrated. I was failing.
Yeah.
I was expecting it, but I did not accept that. I know failing was coming because when I started recruiting duty, I was like, man, the first is gonna be rough, and it sure was. But at the end of the day, it's not how you started.
And that's the thing, and I'm glad you because you said that before, and I didn't really bring it up, but that's the reality of it. Your first year is going to freaking blow. But the problem is that people tell you that, and I'm not saying that because like, oh hey, your first year's gonna suck. I'm saying that as in like you should make your first year suck. What do I mean by that? You should work every freaking day. You should work as much as you possibly can. You should pack as many people as you out. Because a lot of times when you get there, like I have, and I know you do, like we have kids that we put in the Marine Corps that we met our first year and they didn't enlist until the third year.
Correct.
And literally, it was that follow-up. It was the hitting them up on Instagram. It was and when you told me that, like, yo, don't even talk about the Marine Corps. Bro, I just started hitting people up that I met, like, 3 years ago. And then once in a blue moon, I hit them on Instagram, like, hey, man, how you been? And that's it. And then eventually, they're like, oh, yo, this dude always hits me up. Like, he sees my news feed. He sees what's going on. And then eventually, he was like, oh, shit, finally it came up, you know? And the reality of it is that your first year, it needs to be that grind. And, you know, because later on, you lose that. And it's also, like, just talking to, like, now that we're actually, like, you know, hindsight, looking at it, like, if you really think, and we can't change anything, but how much better would it have been if we had an office of 5 of us? Because, like, me, I was talking to somebody about that, and I was like, in one of my past episodes, like, I don't know how it was for you in Trenton, but like the way I've seen it in New Jersey, because I've never been anywhere else, but I feel like every RSS only has 2 heavy hitters, and then the rest are just people who they're just leeches. They just live off of it. And because realistically, I'm not saying our team was leeches, so I don't mean that, but like we would write 4s, and they would write 4s, or they would write 1. And then eventually, like they would, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then, but then, it's a cycle, because like when you left, I was the only one there, so then I had to really, really hold it up. And then right after you left, I left like 2 months later.
Right.
Then then it was just Mo and Durkee, and then they had to just figure it the hell out. And then they ended up writing 6 bats apiece, and. You know, and it's crazy because, like, you know, but I also think, like, and I'm like, when you really think about it, bro, it's like, in my head, I'm like, what were they thinking? Like, when they dismantled our team like that. And that's why it's so sad to look at Monmouth the way it is right now, because it's so sickening. because like, bro, when you left in February, I think it was February.
Correct, exactly.
When you left in February, bro, we were number 2 in the state of 14. Then I left, and then Arama left, and then they literally went from number 2 back to 14 in like the matter of a month.
Remember that day when it was my last all hand with you guys. You know, we got that, what was it, RSS in the quarter or something like that? And then we held it. We'll take pictures and I hold it. And then Master Royal was like, that's your last one, Romain. Because you know I'm going to go to Trenton. In the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, that's a challenge.
Yeah.
Bam. And that's why, you know what?
Oh, and that was the thing, too, is because everybody was, I don't want to say no one was expecting you to fail there, but it was like, bro, this station just went 8 months without making anything. And then you went and you made Mission the first month.
Mission the first month, Mission the
all
second
the way
month.
Up until...
All the way up. I overshipped
125%
overship, over contract 136%. It was nuts. And when they would give me that award, they'd say all the overship. I'm like, damn, I didn't do all that. It was simple, basic math. Do your job.
It really was, because I know, like, when you talked about before, like, you're not good at admin and shit like that. Like, I remember when we were doing the SRI, you called me and you were like, yo, I don't have shit done. Like, how do I fix this?
Exactly. Because they didn't look. They just threw me in the rules map. Boom, figure it out.
Yeah.
That's what happened, and I have to fucking figure it out. And I'm glad that we had kind of a good team stuff in TRCs, because I didn't know anything. I was on the phone with, you know, hey, can you help me with this?
You were hitting me.
Yo, what's up with this?
Yo,
what's
you
up
got
with
this report. You got this report. Like,
that was crazy. But you know, SRI, we did.
But you also had a good team, though. Like Trenton was, like, Jones was a beast.
I tell you what, I didn't have a good team. I had a great team, but my successor, predecessor, the one previous to me, he didn't use them, because any Marines are fucking phenomenal when it comes to work ethic.
Yeah.
You just gotta know how to utilize them.
Yeah.
You just gotta find out what makes them tick.
Yeah. Because Jones wasn't a heavy hitter until you came in the picture.
Exactly. So
and
you
then
gotta know
what
makes him tick. So what does that mean? Sit down one-on-one. Hey bro, what makes you happy? Who's Jones? Who's Ben? What makes you happy? You know, what floats your boat? Let's talk. You know what? Let me take off my blouse. I'm not Stash Roman. I'm just a buddy. Let's walk around. And then meanwhile, by the way, I'm gonna take you know, some notes just from my point of view. And every time they're not performing well, or they're sad, or something's going on in their life, I use the exact same what I told in the very beginning. That's how it works.
But now let me ask you a question. When you decided that you were going to do that, right? Was that part of the MC4? Or did you not know MC4 yet?
Like I said,
okay. So the reason why I'm asking you that is because I find that, like, so we use things called MC3, MC4, right? And I'm not saying they don't work, because they work. Like, literally, if you teach MC3 or MC4 to somebody who's inept and they understand it, they can literally use that model for their whole recruiting career, and they'll be good. Mm-hmm. But the thing that people, I think, forget about is that when you're a recruiter, you realize, and you hear the term, you just got MC3, bro. Or you'll hear the term, he just got MC4. And it's just like, but you just took the time before you even learned how to do MC4. You just spoke about it. You know what? I'm going to ask this Marine as a leader, hey, who are you? And how can I help you? Because the reality of it is that's the biggest problem when it comes to recruiting duty, is that people forget that, like, bro, you're like you're a human being. And I was having a conversation with, like, my last episode, and she was on recruiting duty, and then she ended up getting out of the Marine Corps, and then a couple of years later, her husband got histed and on recruiting duty. So I asked her, I was like, what was the difference for you? Because I was like, you were on recruiting duty, and now you're the spouse of the recruiter. And she was just like, well, first of all, we're two totally different human beings. She was like, I would never bring my work home, but he would. And it's just like, you miss so many, like, if you don't do what you did, and you don't sit down with that recruiter and ask him, hey man, what's important to you? Hey man, what's going on in your life? And the thing is that the command, they tell you to put the schedule, the birthdays and the Thanksgivings and all that stuff. Is it a good thing that's in there? Yeah. But the reality of it is that as a team, you should just know that, because you should be there for one another. Like Gunny Mabry, he brought up in the episode I did with him. He was like, bro, I had a recruiter
who was out on the streets all day getting all my shit. He was so busy he forgot about his son's birthday. He's like, but I didn't. He's like, I bought his son a birthday cake. He's like, I helped his wife plan a birthday party. He's like, and by the time this dude came back to the office, he went home to a birthday party for his son. Yep. He was like, bro, you know what that just did for our morale, our office? Like, that's what a leader is. And the thing is that so many people forget about just that simple part.
So here's the thing. Here's a way to disconnect to me when I was a recruiter. There's two disconnection. And I was able to cut onto it fairly fast, and that's the reason I made it out. Two things.
I made it out.
Right?
Like a prison sentence. I made it out that bitch.
So here's the first disconnection. Right now, what color is my shoes? Is it red or is it burgundy? You might say it's red, I might say it's burgundy. Mm-hmm. But if I don't have to take the time for you to say, why do you think it's burgundy? Why I think it's red? Now at least you know why I think it's this color, and now I know why it's this color. Bam! Now we can at least meet in the middle and compromise. Now we're gonna fight for the same goal, same team. But sometimes leaders don't take that time. And leaders again, they think, now I'm the staffing COIC, I'm just, hey, gonna you do this. Wrong. A leader influence his people. How do you influence somebody? You set the example. How do you set the example? You do the damn thing yourself.
Yeah.
It's that simple. That was my secret recipe.
Yeah.
In Trenton.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like you brought it up, like you have those people who become staff and COICs, and I might say something that's gonna, get some people mad, but it is what it is. It's just my opinion, and it's it's reality because I've seen it. You have two different there's probably more than one type, but I'm gonna say there's two different staff and COICs, right? Mm-hmm. It's kind of like when you become a sergeant, right? Correct. You're a working supervisor. Okay, in my opinion, when you become a staff and COIC, motherfucker, you're still a working supervisor. You need to know the craft, you need to do the craft, and then you need to supervise the craft.
You don't have to be perfect at it.
Yeah.
We're not saying that you are perfect, because no one is perfect.
Yeah.
You don't have to be perfect, but at least you have to show them you are willing to learn with them.
Yeah, and you got to show them that you know what you're doing.
Correct.
But what I'm saying is that, like you were talking about when you put your leg up, there were staff and COICs. Oh, excuse me. And I'm not going to say their names, but some of them were 8412s, where they would feel like, oh, hey, man, I'm going to teach my A gunner how to be a staff and COIC. And then I'm going to go get a cut. And I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go to my crib. And then when the command asks where I'm at, oh, I'm at the office. But the reality of it is that the A gunner is doing the show. The A gunner's running everything. The A gunner actually is acting as the staff and COIC, right. But nobody knows that. And then all of a sudden, when that A gunner doesn't get contracts, then people are like, "Yo, why don't you have anything?" Because and it's like, but then that A gunner doesn't want to throw his boss under the bus because he's faithful to his boss. Because we talk about that, and the reason why I'm talking about this is just simply because. It's just like I understand it to an extent. Man,
I was so happy when he took over A gunner spot. I was like, yes, I got
because,
fired.
I understand, yes. Like I understand it to an extent, right? You want the Marine to know, like as you're groomed in the Marine Corps, you're always taught that, hey, you got to know the job of the person above you. God forbid something happens.
Correct.
Okay, but that's just insane. But you still have to do the job, bro. Like you're still here getting a paycheck. You still got to do the job. And the reason why I say that is I never forget it, and this is why I couldn't stand it. And I even went to the point where I said something to the dude. So I got moved over to Middlesex for 2 months, just like literally before I became a boss. And I never forget it. I might have said this in another episode, but so I get out there to this office, and before I got out to this office, I had sat in the car. We were going out to Manhattan to a gala. And it was the 3 top recruiters in the state of New Jersey that were going out to Manhattan to this gala. So it was me and 2 other guys. I won't mention their names. And we were in the car. We were talking about, because the 3 of us were all selected to become staff and COIC. So we knew that here in like the next couple of months we were going to be bosses.
Correct.
The 3 of us. So we're all in this car talking as recruiters. And we're talking about what we're not going to do. And we're talking about the things that we wouldn't do, or the things that we saw done and that we wouldn't do. Long story short, this is like an hour and a half talk, because it was an hour and a half drive into the city. We had some drinks, and we had this really like man to man, leader to leader, peer to peer talk.
So when you say we're talking about what we're not gonna do. What we're not gonna as a staff in
Yeah,
CYC.
yeah.
So
we're looking at the staff in CYC seat, and we're like, yo, when I get there, I'm not gonna do this, and the third because this happened to me.
You are referring to the toolbox.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So we're talking about the toolbox, and the three of us are just having this conversation. Long story short, right? And fast forward 2 months later, I didn't become a staff in CYC yet, but I went to go work for the dude that was driving the car. Mm-hmm. The dude that was all up in it. Like, he was the one all about the toolbox. He was like, I'm not going to do this because he did that. I'm not going to do this, blah, blah, blah. And sitting in the office, it's like the first day. And the guy who was in charge of the office at the time, he was taking over for, starts talking shit to one of the recruiters. And he just hops in talking shit to the recruiter. And he's like, yo, watch how pissed off I'm going to get him. And it's like, bro, why do you want to get the dude pissed off? Just help him work. Yeah. And I was actually just talking to the recruiter the other day about it. But now a couple of days later, we go to the morning in brief, and the boss, now staff NCOIC, the guy that was in the car, starts talking to us, and he's like, all right, listen, guys, this is all the stuff I got to get done. And he's like, hey, Bennett, he goes, you got three graduations this week. I need you to be at this graduation at this time. As soon as you're done with that graduation, you got to be at this graduation. And I just looked at him and I was like, yo, Gunny. I was like, those are your schools that you were just a recruiter for 3 years. I was like, those are your poolees that know you. They don't know who the hell I am. And then I was like, on top of that, I'm only going to be here for like a month. Like, I'm going to go out to Atlantic City or wherever I'm going. Like, I'm going to staff NCO course in like 2 weeks. Like, why would you have me go be the staple of the school when you got like 2 more years in this? You got like 2 more years in the seat. And they're your kids. Like, they're going to immediately look at you like, yo, where'd he go? Why isn't he here? Why isn't my recruiter here? And I said this in front of all the other Marines.
And that's where this connection starts.
And literally, everybody was like, looking at me like, oh shit, he just said this. Like, they didn't think I was gonna say it. And I was like, listen, bro, I'm gonna go where you tell me to go because you're a gunny. But I was like, at the same time, like, you got a dude who just checked in off BRC who's gonna be that recruiter for that school. Why the fuck wouldn't he go? And why wouldn't you show him how to do what he gotta do? And then the funniest part about it was my dude, one of my best friends now, me and him have the same relationship like me and you. Mm-hmm. I couldn't stand him in the beginning. He fucking hated me, and now me and him are fucking tight. He looked at me one night when we were at the bar, and he's like, yo, you're a fucking piece of shit. He's like, you're a horrible leader. You're a reservist, dogging the shit out of me. And I just looked at him, and I was like, yo, it was like 12 o'clock at night, and we had just left the office. And I looked at him, and I was like, yo, you're Gunny. He's active duty, right? He goes, yeah. I was like, where's he at, though? Oh, you're right. He'd been home with his family since 12 o'clock. And immediately he looked at me like, And then a month later, I got promoted to staff sergeant. He came up to me that day I got promoted, and he was like, yo, I just want to apologize. He was like, literally like, yo, you're a good leader, man, and I'm sorry that I said that to you. But it was just funny because... Right. Like, that's what leadership is. Like, and that's the argument. You know, a lot of people, oh, hey, man, I did my job. I'm going to leave at 2 o'clock. Why are you leaving at 2 o'clock when your Marines are... And then you expect your Marines to be at the office till 11 o'clock at night. Like, and we ran into that for a hard minute. Like, where we were at work, and then eventually you would just look... When you were the egg hunter, you would just look at me and be like, bro, I'm leaving, bro. This dude ain't never shown up. I'm leaving. Deuces, see you Monday. And then we'd all be like, okay, I guess we're leaving too.
Man, recruiting duty is really an art. Only if, number one, you care about it, you know the expectation, and once you make it to whatever level you want, you're not comfortable. I was the type of guy that was never comfortable. I wanted to be comfortable being uncomfortable. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know? And I knew all that hard work I would do would somehow lead to amount to something. I don't know what that something was, but, you know, my numbers as put in attrition or Marine people in the Marine Corps was not as great as his, but together I think I was able to, you know, influence some knuckleheads that was working in the freaking dang on gas station or that was doing nothing with their lives. Now that's in Hawaii with me. I got 7 of them that's in Hawaii with me right now.
Oh shit, for real?
7.
See, that's the thing I'll never know. You mean like I don't like, I have like 5 or 6 dudes that are in the reserve unit that I was in, and they would just come up to me and shit like Natalie, like this dude Brown.
Natalie is my first poolee, by the way. First poolee. But yeah, man, it's a great experience. And overall, what the Marine Corps recruiting duty did for me, you have no idea. Now, I started my own little hustle on my own, selling cars instead of, enlistment. Within a year, I sold 13 cars on my own. Made about 37 G's profit.
Oh shit.
And all the time I used on recruiting duty that I couldn't afford doing at home, I use it school. I got a dang on bachelor degree within a year and 6 months.
Yeah.
So I'm just telling you, man, recruiting, it's a hell of a job. But once you get a hold of it, and you utilize it the right way, oh man, you'll be unstoppable. Man.
Bro, it's the truth, man.
Unstoppable, man.
Like, and that's what killed me. Like when I'm on this Facebook page that I'm on, like all I ever hear is the negative parts of recruiting duty, and I'm like, listen, bro, if you really had that bad of a time, then you sucked. You allowed everything around you to control you.
Correct.
Because like, yeah, I had a bad time. Yeah,
we all did.
We all did. Like, yeah, we had bad leadership, or we could have had better leadership. But the reality is that no matter where you go, whether it's the Marine Corps, whether it's another branch, whether it's the civilian world, leadership is leadership, and it can always be different because it's a human being who's the leader. Because there's always going to be fault.
At the end of the day, it's you. How do you see life? Do you see this bottle halfway empty or halfway full? If you see it halfway full, I don't care how bad your leadership is. I don't care how bad Staffman Romain is. I don't care how awful that Staffman Bennett is. You're going to find a way to strive with that halfway full bottle. Why? Because you have a positivity in mind.
Yeah.
But if you see this shit halfway empty, there's no way how great we could be as leaders, how we can show you how we were good at recruiting duty. You're going to fucking quit.
Yeah.
It's that plain and simple.
It's also the I was reading this book called the 7. I don't know what the hell. I'm not even gonna mess it up. But the dude was talking about just the way you react to things, and I never thought about it until I was reading this book. I was like, wow. He was like, bro, things are going to happen to you, but it's not what happens to you. It's how you react to it. And I never thought about it until I was reading that fucking book, bro.
And
I just realized that I was like, wow, man, like the way I react to things is the problem. The way that I don't react, or the way that like people react to recruiting duty. You know what I mean? Like you have people like, and you heard it, like when we first came in the office, like we had people who were garbage and who were literally like, oh, you're gonna have the worst time on the duty. It's gonna be the worst thing ever. And it's like, okay, is it really that bad? And that's the thing, is you have that moment where, okay, I gotta make this my own. You're gonna be here for 3 years.
Regardless.
You're going to be here for 3 years. The only way off the duty is for 3 years. And the only way to do it is to do it right. And that's the problem, is a lot of people come out there with, this negative mentality towards it. And it's like, bro, like you were already a Marine. Like you were already out there in the fleet. Failure was never an option. Failure was never an okay thing to do.
Quitting
and then
on the job.
Yeah, quitting on the job. Like, and bro, how many people did we see get in trouble for sexual assault? Whether it was in the pool or out of the pool, drugs,
or simply
alcohol,
quit. They didn't want to do it
simply
anymore.
quit. Like, and that's the thing, is like, and then when you see a staff sergeant quit, it's like, first of all, any Marine period quitting is a problem. But when you see a staff sergeant quit or higher, it's just like, bro, what do you mean? And
that's one thing we don't do. I don't even know how to spell quitting, to be honest with you.
He's not kidding.
Like, literally, the Marine Corps tells me you got to go back and recruit me right now. Of course, it's going to be a kicker, all right? 20 G's or something like that.
You better give me something.
I'm going back. That simple. So, yeah, man, glad to be here, to be back, I just literally flew in from Hawaii 5 hours ago, and I'm here. 6 hours time change difference, whatever, but I felt like, this show was something that I had to participate in, just for the support and the positive thing that you're doing out there. People need to hear this. There's a lot of things that we throw under the rug. that it's like LeBron James. When they see him perform, they're like, oh man, he's great or he sucked, but they don't understand the amount of work this guy's put in the backstage. Like he's waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning. He has to do some kind of diet. He can't drink alcohol. He can't drink sugar. You know what I'm saying? It's not just genetics. Like me, people keep saying, he keeps saying that too. Oh, you got a 6-pack? Man, it's just genetics, man. You black.
Bro, I don't give a fuck.
I wake up every morning at 4 a.m.
Nah, I'm gonna just say this right now. That is bullshit. You know how I know that's bullshit? Because I watched your ass for 3 years on recruiting duty not go to the gym every single day. Every time we would go to Buffalo Wild Wings or anything to celebrate, we would all be drinking, and this dude would have some girly ass freaking pina colada type freaking cherry limeade motherfucking
That's me.
And this dude would be all sugared up, and you would never PT for 3 years, and you still left the duty. You didn't gain no weight. You still had your abs intact. All right, maybe you gained 5 pounds.
I gained 15 pounds.
Bro,
I came out 165.
Bro,
180.
but you still had a 6-pack.
Hey.
Exactly. So it's genetics. It's the reality of it. But so one thing, before we end this, you just brought it up, and I don't know the answer because we were not close at all on the duty.
No, we didn't have time for that.
But no, that's not true. We just didn't like each other and we didn't speak to each other.
That's true. That too.
And like I said, our boss kind of like caused it too. He just kept hyping it up. But my question for you is that because you were always that type of person that was introverted, or like you never wanted to hang out afterwards. Like we would all be like, hey, we're gonna go to a drink. You'd be like, nah, bro, I'm gonna chill here. I'm gonna go home. So my question for you is, what's your advice for other people like that? Because a lot of people have that issue where they don't want the camaraderie, they don't want to hang out, or they don't want to whatever. You know, I remember, and I also, bro, I'll never forget this shit. I remember, I'm gonna keep some of the context out because I kind of have to. But I remember our boss, we missed mission, and we had to do a Miss Phase line brief. And we sat there
midnight
till it was like 3 a.m. And you were laying on the floor in the hallway, and you were like, yo, can I just go home? And he was like, no, you never want to hang out with us. You never want to be a part of camaraderie. So we're all going to do this mission together. And we sat there till like 3 in the morning, and he had us you would fill out one part, I would fill out the other part. We're doing this shit together. And then finally we leave. We go to the office. We had to be there at like 6:30 or some shit. And we're sitting in the office and around the whole command, and he has his laptop out, and all of a sudden he just goes, Master Guns, what? I don't have it. It didn't save. And yo, we literally started at like 7 o'clock. We finished that shit at like 3 a.m. because they wanted every number, everything allocated. And we literally sat there for hours. And then this dude just shows up to the RS, and he's like, yeah, it didn't save. And we're just like, bro.
I hated those mission.
Bro. Ugh. So what advice do you have for anybody
introvert
like that?
Okay, so anyone that's introvert.
Because you always stayed away from us. Like, we didn't really talk. Like, you had a family, you had kids.
Right.
You went through childbirth on the duty. Like, actually 2, right?
One.
Because
the other one came.
Because you came out. Yeah, you came out here.
It was 1 year old. Okay, that's a great question. So, to be totally honest, one of the main recipe of my success on recruit duty is the fact that my family, my wife, and my son, we were able to get a spot where we had family members. Because my wife and her family lives in Monmouth County. So, therefore, I had more time to figure things out on my own, and stuff like that. But for people that's introvert like I was, it was something personal to me, man. I was just trying to perfect my craft. So every minute, every second, every minute, every hour that I had that I could spend on myself rather than go out and drink, I wanted to perfect myself, because there's something in the Marine Lud that says know yourself and seek self-improvement. And I kind of want to practice in private and shine in public kind of guy. Okay, like you don't just wake up and shit. You get a bat tomorrow, yay! No, it doesn't work that way. So we got 7 bats in a row, thousands of phone calls, thousands of failures, thousands of no's, but those couple of yes, You gotta work on it, you know. AC, sometimes we go out for like 10 hours. We don't get nothing. Okay,
bro, and that's the word. And then, you know
Zero.
what I mean. And that I'm glad that you brought that up because, and again, I think it's just a hard conversation to have, but I'm gonna have it. I think a lot of the people who are 8412s forget what it's like to be a recruiter, and I think that staff and COICs as well. Like when you become a staff in COIC, all of a sudden you forget what you just went through for 3 years. And I say that because, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm not gonna say that I wasn't that guy because I was that guy. But like you just said, I'm glad you brought it up, bro. There's days where you go out and the bitch is fucking dry. There ain't nobody to talk to. You've been AC in the same place for years. You already know that guy at ShopRite. You already know that guy. So you already met that dude 5 or 6 times. And now you're going to get him again. You're going to recycle the pack card, whatever. But then you come back to your office after 3 hours of legitimate trying. And you walk in and your boss says, how many pack cards you got? I ain't got nothing. What do you mean you ain't got nothing? There's no way I could go out there right now and find me in the same day. And then all of a sudden, all right, so let's go. But the reality of it is that we, as staff, and again, I'm saying this because I've done it, you know, we forget that, bro, there's going to be bad days. There's going to be days where you don't get anything. Or how many times did you go out and all you got was permanently disqualified pack cards? Like, bro, I can't change the fact that everybody in my AO has a neck tattoo or has hands tattoos.
Or is illegal like I was.
Yeah, like how many people, like especially in your AO. In your AO, was flooded with illegal immigrants, people who couldn't join the Marine Corps, tattoos, drugs. So like everyone's like, hey man, it's not that hard to get 5 qualified pack cards a day. And it's like, bro, it is. And especially in today's climate. And the thing is that, and that's the thing is like you know, and that's why a lot of people will fall to the victim of just making phone calls because I can see how many phone calls you've made. Correct. And the problem is that when you look at numbers, people compute that to, oh, well, he worked. He made 150 phone calls. Okay, but what did it do for him? And then when you go out there for 3 hours and you don't come back with an appointment for tomorrow, hey, man, what'd you do for 3 hours? Fuck off? And it's like, well, no, I didn't. And then it's like, well, hey, where were you? Why weren't you out there with me to see if I? And then that would be the worst part is when you go out with the dude and you actually see that it's dry, and then you got the Master Gunny calling you like, hey, why ain't you got nothing? And you're like, Master Guns, I'm out here with him. We haven't been able to find. So you're telling me that a staff at COIC of an office can't find an appointment for tomorrow? And then it's like, that's not what I said. That's not what I said at all. And I think a lot of it is just people just forget the reality of, bro, number one, you can't force people to join the Marine Corps. Correct. You have to put in that perspective of it. And then it's like you got dudes who work in like think about it, like we like legitimately, and that's why I always tell people like you don't understand. Like and actually, here's a question for you. You were in Monmouth, and then you went to Trenton.
Correct.
Which one was harder? Was the grind harder? Because in my mind, in the 4 different offices that I went to, Monmouth was a beast that no one will understand unless you've been a part of it.
Monmouth has always been a challenging RSS. At least for the past 7 years. Yeah. For the past 7 years, Monmouth has always been struggling. The only time you can be a witness to that I think Monmouth has not struggled is that year period that when me and you was get it back, I get it back, get it back.
That was it.
That was it.
And we came from it was the downward spiral because they were all getting like Rodriguez was leaving. So we didn't have Arana left. Like we didn't have a good time, and then me and you were just on the come up, and then literally we both hit our high at the same time, and we were destroying it, and then literally it just went whoop as soon as we left. But what I guess what I'm asking though is that like people don't understand that it's a 24-hour a day thing. It's a 7-day a week thing. It's a 3-year thing, and I think the problem is that like I'm looking at it like because I still talk to people that are on the duty and it's like like my boy, I'm not gonna say his name, but he hit me up. He's 1 for 7 on September 20th, and it's a Friday. And I hit him up like, "Yo, you want to chill?" He's like, "Nah, bro, I'm at the office." I'm like, "Bro, it's 8 o'clock at night." And now here's the argument: you're 1 for 7 on a Friday at 8 o'clock at night. You look at your life and you look at the reality of, okay, for the past 3 years, what have I ever gotten on a Friday at 8 o'clock at night? Nothing. But then it's like, well, you can look at it two different ways. I gotta show them a lesson, or let me give them some fucking time to cool the fuck off. And that's the problem with the duty, man.
An effective staffing COIC on a Friday night, that's 1 for 7. That's about to miss mission. On a Friday night, instead of having to stay in the freaking office and make phone calls, this is what a call over make. Be like, hey, guys, take your clothes off, put your regular civvies on, let's go to the movies. And I bet you they will find something. Let's go out, let's go have fun. I promise you, these recruiters will work for you. Not only now, you're not making them force them to do something that they don't want to do, but you're making them to do something that's away from the recruiting world.
Yeah.
Even though they know I'm a recruiter 24/7. I don't care if I'm in civics or not. I have my pack card in my hand, my pen in this hand. I'm gonna get somebody today. You know, it's that simple, man. But you know, it was a great experience overall, and I think everyone, regardless if you made it out successfully or not, any Marine that became a recruiter have learned something positive.
Yeah.
Recruiting.
Yeah. 100%, I agree. Like, you can't say this shit didn't do nothing for you, bro. Bro, there's people who got off the duty and literally are owners of businesses now, killing it, destroying it, like, and because of MC3, because of MC4, because of just and unfortunately, because of the hours, because of the bullshit you deal with.
Exactly.
Because it's like, as much as you hate it right now, you're about to go to a place where it's a joke. Like, where everyone else around you is like, oh, we gotta work an extra day. Oh, I gotta work Saturday. And you're like, bro, I work 7 days a week. What are we talking about?
Like, right now, my Marine doesn't understand me. Because every morning from Monday to Friday, by 3:45, 4 a.m., I'm at the gym. Because I made up a gym in my warehouse.
Yeah.
And then from 4 to 6, I'm at the gym. I go home for an hour changeover. 7, I'm back. And I don't get out until like 17, 18, sometimes 19. Like,
yeah.
So you've been here since technically 5 a.m. if we minus 1.
Yeah.
Like, so... Like, is that recruiting you? Like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So that's where one of the work ethics come too, because when you gotta get shit done, it just gotta get done. It's not gonna get done by themselves. Yes, we have responsibilities too, staffing COICs.
I think that's what it is, man. I think people they see that. Oh, I became a staffing COIC.
I made it.
Yeah,
I made it,
and it's
bro.
like, no, bro. Like, you got a whole office to be in charge of. Like, you got all this stuff to be in charge of, and
that's taboo. What we just talked about here, in a perfect world, okay, staffing COICs, and I'm not saying that to badmouth anybody, because, you know, I was in both shoes, we were in both shoes, we were recruiting and staffing COICs, so we saw both worlds, okay?
Yeah.
And fortunately for us, we're able to open that toolbox, take some tools that we pertain to us positive, and leave some tools or throw some tools out that was not too good, and that's why we made it out, effectively out of the recruiting duty. Yeah. So, if you were in recruiting duty, staffing COICs or canvassing recruiter, it's simple. Do your job and systematic recruiting. Go at it. That's it. That's all I got, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate the invite, you know, and looking forward for, you know, Semper. Sometimes with Benny, 5 years from now, hitting millions of views.
Yo, I'm ready, man.
You know?
But so I thank you for coming out, man. I appreciate you coming out. The last thing that I want to ask you, just to end this all, is what's next for Lud?
Ooh.
What's next for Lud?
Okay, so what's next for Lud? I just got my bachelor's. I just got also simultaneously got accepted to a master's degree program for criminal justice and homeland security, and I'm starting my master's in January. But what's next for Staff Sergeant Romain, short term, is I just dropped an MSG package, Marine Security Guard. That's another B billet. Okay, that was one of my bucket lists. So if everything works out, next year and a half, I should be somewhere protecting an embassy. And next year, if I get passed through with a gunny, I'm probably gonna switch to officers.
I don't think you'll get passed over for gunning. There's no way, bro. There's no way you could be meritoriously promoted to every rank and then get back. I would hope not. But
You never know.
something that we didn't talk about at all.
What is it?
How do you look back? Like you were born in Haiti until when?
Until I was
Like when did you leave Haiti?
7 years old.
And then you went where?
France.
Okay, so looking at your life, where you are, do you like when you were growing up in Haiti and everything going on in the world right now? Like, and I know Haiti just had some like, issues.
President
Like,
got assassinated.
Do you just look back like? Did you ever think you'd be here? Did you like do you look back at like where you came from and to where you are now?
Man, that's a deep question, and I'm glad that was the last one because that might be an even deeper answer for that. I have a vision board in my garage, okay, that has pictures of my family in Haiti right now. I have a cousin that's 7 years old. If you ask him how old he is, he don't know. His clothes he's wearing right now doesn't fit him anymore because you've been wearing this clothes since you was 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
So it's simple for me. There's people that I cannot disappoint. So the recipe for me to that is, I know where I came from. I know where I'm at. But most importantly, I know where I'm going. And that's the reason I'm going hard every day, regardless if I'm at the gym by myself or at work by myself or with 20 people. I promise myself that I will be the hardest worker on the freaking dang on room. No questions about it. Because I simply cannot disappoint my same family last name that's in a third world country that depends on me to send them, a bottle of water. Because they don't have clear water. You know what I'm saying? They don't have a flushing toilet. Hell, I didn't have a flushing toilet. I didn't have a running water. I didn't have electricity until I was 9 years old. So imagine that. So anything is possible. Anything is possible. All you gotta do is put your hat on, mind your business, move forward, and keep it moving. Whatever you do, stay driven. That's it.
All right, no doubt. Well, you heard it from him, the Haitian sensation himself, Lud Romain, Staff Sergeant of Marines, recruiter, father, all that cool stuff. Thank you guys for coming out. I appreciate it, and adios.
Bang, bang.